Welcome to my channel Learn Math with Syed Ali. Today we will be dealing with finding the common factors of two or more numbers using prime factors. In last lesson we learned what the prime numbers are and what is prime factorization. So we know that prime factors, to start with, like a tree, and then we use the prime factors or prime numbers which passes through in that number, the times table which passes through in that number. So here we have some definition: finding common factors of two or more numbers using prime factors. What is step number 1? Find the prime factors and then multiply any two or more common factors to get other common factors. So what does it mean? We will learn that what is meant by multiply any two or more common factors to get other factors. So for example, let's say that we have to find out the common factors of 24 and 36. So what we need to do? We need to make the common factor, prime factor of 24, and we need to make the prime factor of 36. So if we make prime factor of 24, we start with 2. 2 times 12, and then we break this 12 as 2 times 6, and then we break this 6 as 2 times 3. And then my prime factors are these numbers which I am circling. So this is no further division, right? So I can say that my prime factors of 24, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. If you multiply all of them, 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8, 8 3 is 24. So you are good. And then you do this one. So 2 is going into 36 as 18 times. 18 times 2 is 36. Then you break 18, 2 times 9. And then you break 9 as 3 times 3. So now you have prime factors of 36 as 2, 2, and 3, and 3. If you multiply all these numbers, you will get 36. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, 12 times 3 is 36. So you know now that how to factor or prime factor each number and then write them in a multiplication form. So these are all the possible prime factors. We need to know the common factors, right? What are the common factors? So we have 2 as a common factor. We have 2 again, and then we have 3 as a common factor. This 3 is also common factor, right? But this 2 and this 3 will remain alone. So they are not pairing up, or they are not common. So what we can say that what we have common is 2, 3, and 4. Why 4? Now we have to learn. Find the prime factors. We find the prime factors. First step is done. Multiply any two or more common factors. So if we have to write like, okay, what are the common factors? We will say 2 and 3 is the common factor, right? Because this is here common and this is here common. So 2 and 3 is the common factor. But we can multiply and get other common factors as well. So what I can do is 2 to the 4 is here and 2 to the 4 is here. So 4 is also a common factor, right? 3 times 2 is 6, right? 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6 is here. So we can get, that means 6 is also a common factor. So you can multiply and see what other common factors are possible. Now, for example, now we have to check another one. What else can be common factor? 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12. So 12 is also a common factor, and 12 is also here because 3 times 2 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9, but there is no 9 there, so 9 is not a common factor. So you need to see that what possible common factors can be. Now, if we have 12, can 24 be a common factor? So you need to multiply 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8. So 2 to the 4, 8 is not there, so 8 is not a common factor. 2 to the 4, 2 to the 4, 4 3 is the 12. 12 we already did, right? So if we go like 12, that is the common factor. So these are the common factors between 24 and 36. And sometimes it is asked what is the maximum or the greatest common factor among this number. So who is the greatest number? The greatest common factor, right? So in this way we can find out 12 is the greatest common factor. So let us have another example. See 30 and 45. So we have to find out 30 and 45, and we have to find out the prime factorization, right? So we will do the first step is find out the prime factorization of both numbers. So 30 can be break as 2 times 15, and 15 can be broken as 3 times 5. So I have the common factors 2 times 3 times 5. So what I will write here, 30 is equals to 2 times 3 times 5, which is 30. And then I will break up or prime factor 45. So I start with 3. Here 2 is not possible. So 3. 3 times, so 3 ones are 3, 3 fives are 15. 15 times 3, right, is 45. And then we break 15. 3 times 5 is 15, right? So I have the prime factors of 45, which is, I will write here, 45 is equals to 3 times 3 times 5. These are the prime factors for these two numbers. So who is the common factor? So common factor is 3. 3 is common, right? 5 is common. So 3, 5. And 15 also a common factor. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 3 is 15. Because second part, multiply any two or more common factors to get the common factor. So what we have here, we have 3 and 5, and then we have 15. What else we can have? 3 3s are 9 here, but there is no 3 3s are 9. Here is nothing, right? So 9 cannot be, right? And you can see that 9 cannot pass through this number, right? So these are the common factors between 30 and 45. Another interesting example sometimes asked, which is prime factor, find out the prime factor of 120 and 420. Let's have a look at this one, the bigger number. So I will do it for you. So find the common factor between 120 and 420. So what we have to do, first step, find the prime factors of 120. So we do prime factors of 120. 2 times 60 is 120. 2 times 30 is 60. 2 times 15 is 30. 3 times 5 is 15. So these are my prime factors, 2, 2, 2, 3, and 5. If I will write it here, 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, right? 5 is here. So 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8, 8 times 5 is 40, 40 times 3 is 120. So we are good with this factor. These are the prime factors which we write. And now we will break 420 into prime factors, right? So what we start, how we start, 2 times 210 is 420. If you multiply these two numbers, you get that. And then you break 210, like 2 times 105. And then you break 105 with the table of 5 maybe, so that you get 5 and 21. And then you break 21 as 3 and 7. So you have your prime factors 2, 2, 5, 3, and 7. So you will multiply here 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 7, right? So we have prime factors of 120 and prime factors of 420. So that means step 1 is done. Now what else is there? Multiply any two or more common factors to get more common factors. So that means common factors, what we wrote here is 2, 3. Now we have to see, is 4 is a common factor? Yes, you can multiply 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 is present, right? And then we check 5. Okay, 5 is present, so 5 is a common factor. 6. Now we say 6. 3 times 2 is 6 and 3 times 2 is 6 here. This is second step. Multiply any two or more numbers to get another common factor. So we multiply two common factors. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 is also a common factor between 120 and 420. Now we can check more. After 6, what we have? 10. 5 times 2 is 10. And 5 times 2 is 10. So they both have 10, right? They both have 12. How? 3 to the 6 to the 12. They have 12. Both have got 12. Next, what we can check? 5 3 is 15. It has got 15. 5 times 3 is 15. So we have 15 there. What else we can see? Okay, 20. 2 to the 4. 4 times 5 is 20. And here also we have 20. So 20 is a common factor of this. Then we say 30. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So they both have got 30. Then what else? 5 times 3 is 15. Times 2 is 30. Times 2 is 60. They both have got 60 as well as a common factor. So these are all common factors between 120 and 420. If I say who is the highest common factor, you can see that there is the highest common factor. Are you right? Highest common factor is 60. Right? This is the highest common factor, which we can say. Can you count them? How many common factors are there between 120 and 420? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there are 11 common factors between 120 and 420, eliminating 1 or excluding 1. We are not counting 1 as a common factor, excluding 1. We did not take, because 1 is always common to each and every number, right? 1 is there. But there are 11 common factors between 120 and 420. And if somebody asks you a question like this, okay, list all the common factors between 120 and 420. So you know how to write it. First step, find the prime factors of each number like this, and then you multiply them. Second step, multiply any two or more common factors to get another common factor, as we did here. We try to multiply each and everything among them and get another factor. 2 times 3 is 6, 6 is another factor. 5 times 3 is 15, 15 is another factor. 15 times 2 is 30, 30 is another factor. So in this way, you can write down all possible factors of two numbers. Hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe my channel, press the bell icon button. Thank you for watching.